Hello friends, and a warm welcome back to the Slow Living Collective, a podcast about slowing down, living seasonally and embracing an intentional life. I'm Amy, 30-something mum of two, homemaker, home educator and allotment gardener. These podcasts are love notes from me, sharing the things I sometimes need to hear myself. In these episodes, I'm going to delve into what it means to walk a different path, to stepping outside of societal norms and embracing the ever-ending beauty that it provides. From educating our children outside of the school system, living in a small home by choice, surrounding ourselves with a life of intention instead of living a life by default, I welcome you on this journey with me to open your mind to a different way of living. I hope you find what you are looking for within the words of these podcasts, and I hope that they speak to you in your own unique way. Hello friends, and welcome back to another podcast. Firstly, a big thank you to all of you who have had such wonderful things to say about last week's episode. It's always nerve-wracking coming back after such a long break, but like I said in the last episode, I'm really returning at the right time, when I feel like this is an undertaking that I'm ready to embrace again. Podcasts come with some fairly hefty work, coming up with ideas, sketching out the episodes, recording, editing, and then show notes and social media work around that. It's busy, but I know I get a lot from it too. It's just finding that ever so finely balanced notion of work and home. And that leads us nicely into this week's topic, which is homemaking and why the work we do at home is our most important work. Let me preface this with something though, just to ensure we are all on the same page before we start. Whether you choose or are required to work outside the home or from home, or whether your choice is homemaking, all of our choices are valid. Okay, let's get going. I didn't know I wanted to be a homemaker. I mean, I did, but I didn't really think about it too much. But I did know that when I was younger, I wanted to stay home when I had a child. But then I had my first child, and the pandemic hit just as I was coming back off maternity leave, and I found myself looking to do something, anything. And I found it very easy to slip back into my old work as a social media strategist. It was something safe and comforting in a time when everything was upside down, and it was a little more income in what was quite an unstable time. I had worked in my job on and off for 15 years at that point, and when I finished work to have my daughter, the plan wasn't to come back. The plan was to stay at home. Little did I know that staying home would be something I did a lot of in 2020. We soon decided to add to our family, and with our little boy arriving 2 short years after our daughter, this time though there was something different. When maternity leave ended, I had 2 children aged 1 and 3, and the time I had to devote to anything was more scarce than ever. Even though my work has always been freelance and from home, I had to make the decision whether working and taking that time away was worth it. We didn't want to put the children in childcare, so the time would be when my husband could have them. And then that would be time where we wouldn't be able to spend time together as a family. When we bought our first home almost 6 years ago, we planned for this moment in the future. One we didn't know would come, but were hopeful for. We planned to purchase a home on just one income and build our life based on that one income. A privilege, yes, but something we were grateful of the opportunity to do. Despite the privilege of being able to purchase a home and live on one income, we worked hard to make this a possibility, and I'm really grateful now for the decisions we made then. This freedom allowed me to follow my path when it presented itself to me. Both my husband and I were keen for the kids to be at home with me, and with us wanting to home educate them long term, we knew this was a decision we were making for the long haul. Finishing maternity leave in May, when our little boy turned 1, I still had that niggling feeling like I should be doing something, anything. And I'll be honest, it has taken me a little time to really settle down and embrace the role of homemaker. I wouldn't even say I'm 100% there yet. I still sometimes feel that my work isn't valued because I don't work for monetary remuneration. And maybe that is because my work isn't valued. Of course it is within my home and by the people who really matter, but in society as a whole, those hours of unpaid work we do as husbands, wives, mothers or fathers aren't truly valued. A capitalist society wants to keep those cogs turning, wants us back in the workplace, earning money that we can go and spend recklessly to keep that wheel turning. Sometimes society likes to remind us of how far we've come, that women don't have to be at home anymore, that we can be whatever we want to be, even though largely men still get paid more than us for doing the same job. That gender pay gap continues to remind us that while things might have visibly changed, there is still so much work to do. We are reminded that we don't want to go back to being that 50s housewife. Things have changed. A lot, in good ways and in bad. Being a homemaker, whether you work in a job outside the home or not, is still undervalued. Being a mother, again, regardless of your work situation, is still undervalued. We have come so far, and maybe that's the whole point. We have the power now to make that decision for ourselves instead of having it forced upon us. We don't have to be defined by a job or by what we do, and we can, in fact, find contentment in our own home and our family and the life we constantly build for ourselves. I had to sit uncomfortably with the title of homemaker for a while, but slowly I am embracing everything that I love about it. People still ask me, what is it you do? Or what job do you have? And I know I only feel uncomfortable because society has taught me that I only hold value if I undertake paid work. For me, the most important work takes place inside my own home, caring for my family, raising my children, and instilling the values that they can take out into the world. Sometimes being at home full-time can be looked down upon by our society, that we're not making a financial contribution. But I believe the biggest contribution we can make can be inside our own four walls of our home. And whether you decide to stay home full-time or whether you work outside the home, what we do inside our homes is monumental. For me, the biggest contribution I get to make is in the little people that I get to raise. Thank you so much for tuning into today's podcast. I'm so beyond grateful to have you here. Community is so important to me, so I would love to chat with you over on Instagram. You can find me on my account, Life on Plot 44. My podcasting friends have always told me podcasts live and die by their reviews. So if you're able to leave a rating or a review on mine, I would appreciate that so much. And of course, if you're able to share what I do here on your social platforms, I would be so grateful too. Thank you again for tuning in, and I'll be back soon with another podcast.